Hello everybody, welcome back. If you have not been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. So much that I actually created a whole new day, a series Sunday, so that I could talk about books in a series because I was reading. I started to read a lot of series. Today is book 4 in the Joona Linna. 5 books later and I'm finally realising it's Joona, not Joona. Joona Linna, The Sandman by Lars Kepler. So that is your front cover. I'm just going to get straight in with that blurb for you. During a cold winter night in Stockholm, a young man is found walking alongside a railway bridge. The hospital declares that he is suffering from hypothermia and Legionella. They also discover a death certificate stating that the man has been dead for over 7 years. Where has this man been during all these years? Thanks to an unexpected testimony, this intriguing case is reopened. So I listened to it on audio because I said it's 14 hours and 30 minutes to listen to on normal speed in fiction and crime and thriller. Target audience adult. I have also recently discovered that these books are being adapted to a TV series called Lazarus, starring Tom Hardy. Apparently they announced this last year and I only just recently found these books, so I read book 8 first. It is based on one of the book titles, but when I looked it up, it looked like the first season that they're doing is actually based on the Sandman, based on the description that they've put out. Lazarus, I'm not completely sure what book Lazarus is. It might be one of the last ones, but yeah, the description that they put out for season 1 of Lazarus is the story for the Sandman, so that's going to be interesting. I think it's because this kind of ties in to Joona's family situation, so I think that's possibly why they've decided to start off with this one, because it ties in learning more about Joona. It's getting used to saying Joona and not Joona, because we found out at the end of book 3 that there is a connection to Joona's wife and daughter and the things he has done to protect them. I'm just going to say that because I don't want to spoil too much. Admittedly, this book didn't delve as much into that as I thought it would. It is mainly focused on the story that's in the blurb, which is the man that turns up at the side of the railway bridge. I felt it took quite a long time for me to get into this because it felt very repetitive at the beginning. Like, I realised I was like a few hours in and still actually hadn't learnt that much, apart from the fact that this guy had Legionnaire's disease and that there was somebody who was still missing and the case that it was connected to. It felt very repetitive at the beginning. Where this really picked up for me is when they put their head chief of police, Saga, undercover to the person who they think is responsible, who is in a psychiatric unit, like a proper secure unit, and so Saga goes undercover to try and get information about him, about where this survivor might be. The one that they are aware is still in captivity somewhere, and they are working on the premise that she is still alive, based on the testimony of the guy that they found at the side of the bridge. I really enjoyed the Saga storyline. I will say that because it's kind of based in kind of psychiatric and kind of got that kind of prison element, Saga does go through situations of people taking advantage of her, and there are some descriptions of attempted sexual assault. I will just let people know about that, because there was that point where it's just like, it did feel kind of important to Saga's storyline because she's put in a very vulnerable position when she's undercover, and yeah, it did feel important to Saga's storyline, but I can understand how that can be a trigger for some people, so I just want people to be aware of that. But yeah, once it got through those first couple of hours and we saw Saga go undercover, that was the point when it really started to pick up for me, and you see Saga where you've got people listening in, she's taken a microphone in with her, but a lot of the people on the inside are not in on the fact that she is undercover. They've had to keep it secret from a lot of people, obviously, but there isn't really anybody on the inside looking out for her. She very much has to look after herself, and so she swallows a microphone and she's not allowed to let it go through her system. After she swallowed it, she can only have it in her system for a couple of hours before she has to forcibly throw it back up again. Another trigger for descriptions of her trying to get this microphone back out of her again, because it is very descriptive in her making herself sick, and I know that can be a bit of a trigger for some people, so just to let people know about that. But yeah, so it's interesting to see Saga's storyline of being inside this high security unit with a man that she's supposed to be kind of monitoring and getting to know, and yeah, I just found it really interesting. I did this over a few days, actually. I think it was maybe 3 or 4 days I listened to it over, because I was just at a point where it's just like, I need to listen to this all the time. I am so invested once that Saga storyline got brought in, and yeah, I just found it really, really powerful. I think I just fell in love with Saga, because Saga's been in it from the beginning, but this was the time when we really got to know Saga and really see her vulnerabilities and seeing how good at her job she actually is when it came to her trying to get the information out of this prisoner, essentially, who had murdered people, and almost creating a friendship with him when she's just trying to get information out of him. She's trying to get to know his inner workings to see if they can figure out where this hostage is being held. I just found it completely fascinating, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I think of all of them so far, this is my favourite, actually. And that's saying something, because I really, really enjoyed Book 8, which was The Mirror Man. But yeah, I think The Sandman has taken over that first one as like most enjoyability. I mean, I've enjoyed them all, but The Sandman, I really enjoyed that. And the next one I'm going to be listening to is the audiobook as well, again narrated by Saul Reiklin, and he's got such a wonderful voice. It says he's from South Africa, and you can hear it, but it's like a cross between an English RP accent with that clippiness of the South African accent, and it's a wonderful voice for this kind of story. I really, really enjoyed that voice. But yeah, so the next one in this series is Stalker. So that's going to be an interesting one. And again, narrated by Saul Reiklin. And that one's going to be 19 hours and 21 minutes. So that's going to be a long one. So that's going to be interesting. I've just really, really enjoyed it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how much further they go with Saga's storyline as well as Joona's. But yeah, for me, the real star of that one was Saga going undercover. I just found that really entertaining and interesting, and a unique way to get to know Saga, because you're finding out her insecurities and finding out about her family life and her relationships through a vulnerability of her being undercover with someone that she does kind of almost have a friendship with, almost, even though she's just using him to get the information. But yeah, this is telling me to wrap it up, so I will. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. I am so looking forward to the rest of this, I really am. Anyway, I love you all. Goodbye!